Right, in this episode, we're going to look at wrasse. There's several species of wrasse in the UK. The biggest and the most common would be the Ballan wrasse. That's the one we're after. Lives typically on rocky, kelpy, weedy ground. Ledgering is a very good way of catching them, but you will lose a lot of gear that way. So we're going to float fish for them. Anyway, we want to save money. If you're ledgering, you will lose a lot of gear catching wrasse. Float fishing, we shouldn't lose so much, but if you do, if you do get parted out, you can lose the lot. Now, a float like that can be as much as £2, and I'm a bit too tight for that. They come in all different shapes and sizes. Obviously, little ones are cheaper, but you can make your own. This is the money-saving tip today. Make your own. I made one out of this, and this is just the lid of a grape juice bottle that I found under my wife's side of the bed. And all I've done is drilled like a 4mm hole in it for the line to slide through. Now that will make a very, very good float. Obviously too small. It'd be a great little freshwater float, or if you're targeting the mini species, but we need to cast out into the sea, so we need a bigger float. And then I found this in her sock drawer. And I thought, well, whatever that is, that will make a jolly nice float. I went to drill it out, but it had this in it. It had this like electrical gubbins in it. So I guess it's some sort of alarm. But she always uses her phone, so if she's not going to use it, I will. Now we need, if that's going to be our float, all I've done is packed it with polystyrene and inserted a small plastic tube. That's the innards from a biro pen, which I nicked out of her works uniform. So that's our float, free. We will have to use a weight. I'm using one of these bull weights. It's quite a big float. I'll probably put a couple of bulls on that. And that's it. We are set to go. Tomorrow we'll source some bait. We'll go and catch a wrasse. Okay, well, we sorted the bait today. Wrasse naturally feed on small crustaceans, crabs. They'll pull limpets off the rocks, mussels, stuff like that. Very, very powerful teeth and jaws for eating such things. But as an angling point of view, it's easier to fish them with worms. They love worm. We got some lugworm and ragworm. Both excellent baits. I bought these today, but only because I was pushed for time. Ordinarily, I would dig them. If you want ragworm, you can, again, the money-saving tip, you can get ragworm for free if you dig in a harbour. You know, the kind I mean, where boats are on, like running moorings or moorings in the middle of a harbour, so that low tide they dry out and they're sitting on the mud. Well, they've got mooring ropes and chains coming off them. If you dig around there, you will get loads of ragworm for free. The lugworm, we're going to show you how to find and dig lugworm in the bass fishing episode on Learn to Fish, coming up at a later date. But that's the bait. Now, storage wise, really they do need to be kept cool. This time of year, it's no good leaving them out in my shed. It gets too warm out here. So they need to go in the fridge ideally. But I know for fact and through experience that if I put a wrap of lugworm or ragworm in the fridge, my missus goes fucking mental. So what I do now is decant them into like a butter dish or a spreadable cheese dish, something like that, in a pot, and then put that in the fridge. And then At least if she goes to the fridge and opens the fridge, she'd be like, oh, nothing to see here. There's only spreadable cheese and margarine, and no reason to give him a hard time, you know. So good little tip. Right, so we've got the gear ready, we've got the bait ready. They'll sneak that in the fridge in a minute, and that's it. I'm just gonna pack my bag up. We're gonna ride the bike in the morning, and we're going to catch a wrasse, and I will see you down on the rocks. Okay, well, we've loaded the hook. We're going to start off with some ragworm. Again, like I said, I'm using a barbless size 3.0 hook. I have no intention of taking a wrasse home for the table, so this is just a catch and release. Good mark here. We've got very deep water close in, very rocky, good wrasse ground. Well, not going to cast very far out, probably about 25 foot, something like that. Let's see what happens. Beautiful morning. Well, there's our first one. He's very small, but even a small fish was taken on that size 3.0 hook. But again, with it being barbless, it's so easy to remove without causing any unnecessary stress to the fish. But there's a small ballan wrasse. Well, here's a second one, but again, very small fish, sadly. I was hoping for a bigger one. A few things to look out for with wrasse. Spines. There's a whole, sorry fella, there's a whole row of spines down their back along that dorsal fin. And underneath also, near that fin there, there's a couple of spikes there. Not poisonous, but if you get spiked, that's how infection gets in. Just be a little bit careful with them. That's it, that's a ballan wrasse. That's it. The next episode we're going to look at one of my favourites, and that's pollock. So stay tuned for that one. And in the meantime, be safe on the water and enjoy your fishing.
Fucking little bastard.